Hello everyone, Nathan here, and today we are looking at the Mesecons or Mesecons, depending on, I guess, what part of the world you're from, or maybe just what enunciation you heard first, mod for Minetest. Now this mod works great hand in hand with the Technic and the Pipeworks mod, but today we are just going to be looking, for the most part, at the portions of the mod that are by itself. So we're pretty much looking at everything you're seeing here now. Like the stack-wise filter injector, this is actually a Pipeworks thing, as is these. But the Mesecon nodes and tools and stuff can be used with Pipeworks and be used to a degree with Technic as well. So, not looking at those, but those are available. We can kind of break things down here into about 3 portions. We have Activators, which, let's just throw one of those out right now. We have a player detector. When people get close enough to it, it turns green. It's detecting a player. Now you can change it so it only look for certain players. So you could make an automatic door system that'll open the door only for you and not any other player. So let's go ahead and build one of those. Let's make a steel door here. And of course I'm just using give me to do everything because ain't nobody got time to craft all that stuff. And let's connect the door to the player detector. You'll notice the door closes, I walk up to it, the door opens, then I walk right in. Now of course, maybe we should throw a little bit of, I don't know, whatever this material is, around my doorway. Yeah, I did not want to place it there. I wonder if I can break it with my Mesecon sword. Nope, of course I can't. I bet I can with one of these, though. Except I don't have space to put it. This is what happens when you have too much stuff and then accidentally place things where you didn't want to place them. Okay. Just to kind of make a little more sense. I can't reach the top of that. Alright, so we have a door here anyways. Now, we do have the obvious problem that I can't place something in the front here because of how this works. So here's the workaround. We dig out the dirt underneath that. Dig out the dirt underneath that. Won't let me pick those pieces up because I have too much stuff on me right now. And ta-da! As we walk away, the door closes, we walk up, and it opens. Now you'll notice that the Mesecon wire here will go down a space, and you'll notice that some kind of goofy, funky things kind of happen as we do some of these build-outs. If you're trying to just make connections going up into the air, it is best to use the vertical Mesecon, which stacks like that. And then we have a wire that meets at the bottom side here, and then we would run wires off of the top of it in fashion similar to this. If you want to run wires up in only a 1-node space, you have to use those. These work great, just the normal wires, if it's a staggered path, where you have 1 drop for 1 space going over. It'll work just fine. But if you're just trying to run it straight up in a path, you do want to use the horizontal ones. Or vertical, rather, the vertical ones. Alright, so we have a door that automatically opens when you get close to it. But, you know what? Let's change things up. Because we don't want the door to open at night. Whoops, didn't want to break that. We only want this door to open during the daytime. Because after all, we would hate for monsters to come and be able to follow us into the house by our automatic opening door. Or have the door open while we're inside the house and it's nighttime. So we are going to want an AND gate. And let me see if I can remember how to do this. We are going to pop that there. And then we're going to need a solar panel. And we will need our player detector. So we will go ahead, place the solar panel on one side, place the player detector on the other. The door will open. We'll walk away, the door closes. The door opens. We will set the time to night. The door closes. It may be a little difficult to see. And yeah, I don't have just a normal torch on me, and if I put out this torch, I think it's going to make the door open. Yeah, because it sends a constant signal. But we can do that. I wonder if I can put it there. I can. Okay. So, the door is closed because it's nighttime. Putting a torch right next to the solar panel still won't even turn it on. Now, I think a real torch will, though, because it'll detect the light from it. So, this door now stays closed, even though a player is being detected, because the sunlight is not bright enough to send a positive signal through this diode. Is that technically a diode? It's a gate. It's a gate, not a diode. Diode lets things only flow through in one direction. We have all sorts of different gates, and I am by no means an expert on these gates. However, I know a great resource to recommend to you, so I will link to that in the video description and on my website, all about gates and how they work. Basically, they just take two pieces of input data and have one output. And in the case of an AND gate, if both inputs are a positive, it'll send a positive signal. If one's positive, one's negative, it'll send a negative. And if both are negative, it'll send a negative. The AND gate is actually a not AND gate, which I believe does the opposite. So let's dig this up and place this guy in the right direction. Notice the gate opens, or the door opens. We get far enough away, the door stays open. We do time. Change it to morning, sun comes up, we get close, it detects us, and it might not quite be late enough in the day yet. Maybe I should have set it to 6,000. Because I believe once this solar panel turns on, which it should do any moment, this door should close. Solar panel off, solar panel off. Solar panel turn on, come on. It's almost broad day. This is just taking too long. What time is it? Oh. There we go. So the sun comes out. We detect a player nearby. The door closes. No player nearby and the sun's out. The door opens. Admittedly, kind of pointless to have a door that functions like this. But you probably wouldn't be using that in the case of a door. Let's take a look at some of the other things we have here. I'm just going to go ahead and knock this wire out. So maybe we want, instead of a door with a goofy system like that, we just want a switch. Hey. We want a switch to control the door, I think. Because that's still no. Okay, well, let's do this. We'll go ahead and put the switch there, and we will drop two wires in here. Ta-da! We now have a lever that we can use to open and close the door. The lever will always stay in the on position or off position, whichever position you have it set in. Now we have another type of button, which is conveniently enough called a button. We can place that on a wall. It's only a momentary, so you have to run through the door really quick. Ooh, we're in. Now we can't get out, but we're in. So this is good for something where you just want to let somebody, and someone knocks at your door. I really don't know why you would use this rather than just clicking on the door to open the door physically. That would seem to be the easier way of doing things. But you could use it in a system that uses some other things. Alright, let's go ahead and put a node detector out. Now a node detector is going to look for a certain node. So let's go ahead and put something here. Default Dirt. I don't know, I did dearth. Drith. Dirt. Wow, I need to stop talking and start typing. Dirt. Default dirt. Alright. No detector has this little red eye on it. That's where it's looking to detect. So let me pick up this piece of dirt. Gonna have to throw out these carbon steel things. Never wanted those anyways. Alright. Let's throw some dirt in front of this no detector, see what happens. Hey, the door opens because the no detector is detecting that there is indeed dirt in front of it. That's what a no detector does. Those can be used for doing like auto farmers, where you have a node detector, it detects a node, then you use a node breaker from Pipeworks to break the node, then you use a deployer from Pipeworks to replant. We're not going to look at that today. Maybe in a future video. We have pistons. They come in two variants. We have a sticky piston, and we have a non-sticky piston. So let's go ahead and hook these two guys together here. And let's just throw a, thinking a lever at the end so we can have those function on and off. That's probably too long of a run, but whatever. Turned them on. The pistons both pushed forwards. Let's go ahead and turn that off. The pistons retract. So what happens if, oh, I don't know, we put two pistons in front of the pistons? We turn the pistons on. The pistons have been pushed forwards. Alright. Turn the piston off. Ooh, what happened now? So one piston's still sitting here, and the other piston is pulled back. Why so? Because one is a sticky piston. The sticky, whoops, I did not want to do that. The sticky pistons will pull back a node with them, whereas a standard piston will push it forwards and leave it there. These can be used to create all sorts of elaborate traps. You can use them for, well, pretty much traps. Secret entrances. You could use some sticky pistons and have it push some blocks forwards to close a door, and then put them together with a player detector with your name on it, so when you come close, some pieces of stone wall just pull back and there's your secret entrance to the back cave, or to, I mean, whatever cave you happen to have that you're hiding in, your secret lair. Okay, so we have a few other things. We have Blinky Plans. Blinky Plans are kind of the heart and soul of every single one of my builds. And I just wrecked my wire, so let me put that back out and throw out the Blinky Plant. Blinky Plants, as the name suggests, blink. And when they blink, they send a on signal, and then turn off, and they send an off signal, and your doors will just open and close. So you have to wait for the blink. Now, the Blinky Plant can be used with all sorts of other things. Just take that away. Alright, so if it's sunny and we have a blink, the door will open, but if it's nighttime, the door will never open. I use Blinky Plants a lot with diodes. Why do I keep calling these diodes? With gates, to send things with injectors, which are from Pipeworks, and we're not going to cover them. But these are just a good way to send power and pulses, because otherwise, your other methods, i.e. player detector, node detector, solar panel, they pretty much will just send an on signal, and then once it goes away, they send an off signal. But a lot of things that you build, you need to have a pulsing signal, actually, for them to function appropriately. Now I just put a light out here, and you'll notice this light blinks on and off, and I have a variety of colors of those, which we can put out here. And now the power is not transferred from one to the one next to it. They both do still need a wire running in there. And this should kick it on. Both lights will turn on. So you could set up a system with automatic lights where the lights in your house turn on when the sun goes down. It would seem kind of silly to have lights that turn on when the sun comes up, but you could do that too. There's absolutely no reason why you couldn't. Okay, so that covers most of the basics here. Now let's cover the fun stuff about wires. Wires will pretty much connect in any configuration needed, which usually is phenomenal. However, there comes a few points when you're building things and you don't want that to happen. You don't want these connecting to these. You don't want this connecting to this. You don't want all this stuff just connecting to itself as the computer thinks it should, because it's making all the connections it can. And that is where the insulated wires come in super helpful. So insulated wires you make with, and I haven't really looked at any of the crafting recipes, but let's take a look at some of this here. You will use your normal, wait, what do you mean there's no crossover? I just want to make a single. Here we go. No, here we go. Use fiber, which you get from cooking glue, and your normal Mesecon wires, which you get from cooking. You get from cooking here, from cooking a mess block or crystal shard or whatever the other chunk is crystal. So you take these and you build stuff. And now we can make wires cross over other wires. These, as you notice, do not auto-connect. So this node, or this wire and this wire should not send a signal through. So if I put another wire there, and then throw a Blinky plant here, and we'll throw a node detector there, and you'll notice when the plant blinks, the light, or the wire kind of changes color, but that color change does not move on to there. And we can use corner pieces, if I knew which way to place this, to make turns happen, and put a straight one. I really want it going, there we go, going the other direction. And you'll notice that these wires are not automatically connecting to each other. If I was using normal wires, this would all be connected right now. But because I'm not, and I'm using these crossovers, and I'm using these other parts, I'm able to build in smaller spaces and keep my signals traveling to where the signals should be traveling rather than to wherever there is a physical connection available. Now these of course do work with your normal wires. So I can take this and I can hook up some normal wires right to the end of it, and you'll notice that they immediately go and change to that brighter yellow color when a signal comes through. You'll notice that they still won't connect to a side here. I would have to throw a T in, and now suddenly the whole system becomes connected. I can knock those out because they're not doing anything. So these insulated wires are really, really super useful. Suddenly, whoa, I'm connecting all these points I didn't want to be, but maybe I wanted them to be a crossover. You won't really think you'll need these so much, but once you start building elaborate traps and mazes and systems where you don't want to be taking up tons and tons of space to run wires, you'll be very thankful that they exist, because they save you quite a bit of headache trying to make everything fit and fit properly. What haven't we looked at here? We didn't look at all of the different logic gates. A switch. Honestly, I don't know. So that's just like the lever, just a slightly different form factor. Yeah, it's just a simple click on and off. It integrates into maybe a wall a little bit better than a switch would. Pressure plates. We didn't look at pressure plates. We should really look at pressure plates. Pressure plates are thrown out of your hand when you hit the Q key on your keyboard, if that's how your keyboard is configured. We have a stone pressure plate, which we walk on, it opens the door, sends a signal. And we have a wooden pressure plate, which, let me go ahead and throw by this little light here. Stand on that, sends a signal, it lights up. But watch this. If I throw something onto it, it'll signal it on. Same thing with the stone one here. Throw something onto it, it signals it on. So if an entity is standing on these, it'll open them as well. Again, great for building traps. Make a player leave something on a pressure plate to go over here to stand on another pressure plate to run through a logic gate to get the door to open so they can enter, or have two pressure plates that put something on both of, and then a door in the middle that they just open. So use them for all sorts of fun things like that. And then we have, oh, Movestone. I honestly don't know what Movestone does. And I'm not sure why this one has a flat picture and this one has a block. Kind of weird. I've never used Movestone. I don't know what this does. Sticky Movestone and non-sticky Movestone. Let's put a Blinky plant next to these. I don't know if the stones themselves move, so they do. I honestly have no idea what the use case would be for that. I feel like... oh. So a Movestone, evidently you can put a signal at one side and move it forwards, a signal on the other side moves it backwards. I don't know. I have never used a Movestone. I don't know what that would be used for in game. That's the sticky one would move something with it, but I don't really know what. Someplace there's a sound block, which maybe I didn't take. Note block. Okay, give me 10 of these. Let's clear some space here. Give me 10 of these. Oh right, we have some sound blocks. Now, sound blocks will make different sounds when they're put on top of other things. So I have a sound block there, and I honestly don't know what they are. I know the documentation tells you all about it. Oh, we didn't look at the ghost stone either. Ghost stone's kind of fun. You throw these guys out and they disappear. Stone's there. Signal disappears, you can walk through it. Signal turns off, it's there, you can't walk through it. Another good way for making secret walls, though that stone doesn't look like cobble or anything, so it might be a little obvious to some people that, hey, that's ghost stone. Alright, so these note blocks. These make sounds, and they make different sounds depending on what node they are standing on top of. I unfortunately don't know which nodes they need to be on top of to make sounds. I want to say wood and dirt are two of them, so let me just grab some default wood here and grab some default dirt, which of course I won't have space for because I filled my inventory up with all of these Mesecon parts that I then ended up not using most of because yeah, I just didn't. Okay, we'll put note stones there. Theoretically, a creative person could make these make some kind of noise. I'm not wearing headphones right now, so I don't actually know if there's any sound even coming out. Hoping there is, so I don't look like a fool. But yeah, these should be making sounds with the signal, and depending on what node they're sitting on top of, they make a different sound. And I think that covers most of your basics of Mesecons. Oh, you know, I did not mention the water turbine. That looks like it's the only thing. This, if you put it in a water... Wait, what? Oh, 'cause I'm not in creative. No! Give me... No, wait, it's bucket. Is it default? I feel like buckets aren't in default. Give me bucket. Bucket underscore water? Ooh. Ooh, I guessed right. Nice. Alright, so if we do, how do we do this? We dig a hole there, dump water there, fill the turbine there. Turbine off. Okay, let's throw a cable there, so that theoretically should turn on if I figure out how to make this thing work. And let's do, give me bucket. Give myself another bucket of water here and drop it on this side. That's still not doing anything. It might need to be a flowing water source, which I can do by doing this. And I have flowing water. I don't know if I've never used this, so I don't really know what I'm doing. Okay, so water should be flowing under it now. And I'm not really seeing anything happening. It still says it's turned off. So I don't know. Obviously I'm doing something wrong, but what, I couldn't tell you. Well, if I knew how to make that work, the water would turn it on and it would send a signal. Unless does water have to be going over over the top half of it, maybe? I'm pointing at water source, those still look like they're turned off to me. Oh, yeah, I don't know. All I can tell you is I don't know how to use it. But it does something with water, and will send a signal to all of your different nodes. Yay, we have light, because I'm standing on a pressure plate. Alright, that wraps this up. If there's something that I missed, which I'm sure there is, because I'm by no means an expert, feel free to scream at me all you want. Again, visit my website to get the link for the article on gates and how they work and how to use them. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you next time.